Armstrong coming out of turn number 4 toward the tri-oval and the start-finish line to complete his lap. It's not going to be quick enough to get himself into the top 12. And Dakota will shut it down. The Newcastle, Indiana driver who had another top 5 at Iowa last week. I think that race he ran in the Joe Gibbs racing car set him up for future results there. Yeah. Gave him confidence.
Yeah, confidence and knowledge of what the car is really supposed to feel like, what he's looking for in the car, where maybe he hadn't found that exactly before.
Here's Ryan Reed. Spoke to him earlier, showed you his highlights. Now it's down to business. Putting that 16 car as low as he can through the air toward a possible up-front starting position. In the middle of first-round qualifying, actually getting toward the end here now. 12 will go on to compete for the final round and see what the starting order is up front.
It looks like he's going to be inside that top 12 here now. If you're 3/10 off the pole, you're sitting outside the top 12 right now.
Mm-hmm. And here he comes, checking against Kennedy's time. And he will be 8th.
Knocks Eric Jones out, the Gibbs Toyota. And remember, when we started this qualifying, we start from the slowest to the fastest, so these guys should be a little bit faster. But that's a little bit strange, too, because as we talk, some of these guys have gone out running a draft, and as we get down to the last couple of cars, we'll have Cole Custer and Gallagher, who were both in a wreck on their second lap on the racetrack and are back in their in backup cars.
Here's Daniel Suarez in the 18, the Monterrey, Mexico driver. Xfinity Series reigning champion, has a nice ring to it, and he did a fine job last November at Homestead, Miami Speedway. Down to the final 4, pressure was on, and he came through.
The pressure was on, and I'm telling you, as we watch him come down to the green here, and here's a kid, and I think Dell and I watched, and you watched him run that first 6 months that he was in this Gibbs car, and it's like, man, the light switch needs to go off at some point in time. He's got to get and understand what's going on. And all of a sudden, we got to this race. We got halfway through his first year in the Xfinity Series, and it was like the switch went off, and he learned how to race, and he got better and better. And we watched him last year get better with every race. And come back to win the championship. But it was phenomenal to watch his progression once he understood what it took to run up front and win an Xfinity race.
Daniel carrying some of the celebration of the weekend. NASCAR saluting the country, of course, and on the deck lid of Daniel's car, the 101st Airborne celebrating 75 years of existence. And one of the cool things they're going to do is have 2 service members down there, one in vintage uniform from 1942 and one in current day. In fact, during Countdown to Green, I'll be down there and meet these folks and give you a look at how the uniforms have changed a little bit. I can tell you, I think they're both going to be hot, yes. But it should be a stark contrast, and of course Daniel carrying their logo on the deck lid. Catch all the action of NASCAR on NBC with the NBC Sports app. You can get closer, you can get alternate camera angles, driver stats, and track information. It's easy, it's the app. Put it on your device now. It's on all of mine. It comes in handy sometimes, you know. You don't have the station, or you're, somewhere we don't have the TV. I do. You're looking at me like I don't do it.
No, I do know you do it. I know you do it.
There was never a doubt.
No, never a doubt.
Yeah. Technology. It can bite me sometimes, but I do love it. Here's a young'un that understands technology. Ty Dillon in the 3 car this weekend for Richard Childress. Pop, and hoping to get into round number 2. Again, clocking against the fastest car so far in round 1. That's Ben Kennedy. He's not going to do it. Right now, a couple of teammates up there, and I suppose within the team, DJ, if we went around to them, we'd find out that they might be tuning just a little bit differently for slipstream versus handling? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. There's probably everybody within the organization gets together, and then the crew chiefs make their decisions with talking to their drivers a little bit from that point. And so all it takes is just a little bit, and you find a tenth of a second that's difference in them, and that's the difference in right now being in the round of 12 and not being there.
Ty Dillon cooling it down on the backstretch. Now, again, the top 12 on your left there are in. Brendan Gaughan is the one who is most in jeopardy right now. Behind being right before that, right after that. So Reddick is out. And there's Brendan sitting on the edge there with his team, just waiting to see what might happen next. So on track, Casey Mears in the 98 car coming to the green flag. This is the car that won last year, albeit with Eric Almirola at the wheel. Talked to Casey yesterday in practice, heard from him, I'll say, and very confident about this group, what they do with the race car, and obviously with the win last year, he should be.
There's no doubt, and Eric Almirola winning earlier this year at Talladega, so it's very capable and in good, capable hands.
Yes.
Casey Mears, very, very good plate racer, so we should see this car and driver perform very well tonight. Might not make the top 12 here, but I don't think that it's the qualifying side of it that's always been their strong suit. They seem to have a car that their drivers, and in particular Eric Almirola, can really be aggressive with when it comes to that time.
Casey coming to the line now, part of the Mears gang. I remember when Casey started in the Xfinity Series in the 66 car and got his feet wet, knew he was going to be fast, and he's hung around for quite a while in NASCAR, and as he said, does a great job. So thankfully for Casey, there were no issues yesterday as he got out of practice. For others, that was not the case. And it was very early on for the 23 of Spencer Gallagher trying to get down out of the way because he had a left rear tire going down.
Yeah, it's not like you can just stop and pull over, you know. You have to get slowed down from going, close to 190 miles an hour at the end of the straightaway there, and you have a left rear tire going down. Makes it very, very difficult and unfortunate for these two drivers.
Yeah, we saw him move over out of the way, and he moves over out of the way to about 170 miles an hour. You know what I mean? The tire is still flat at 170 miles an hour, and you saw him just work it up the bank and then come around on him. And those cars were spread out enough that it was only a two-car accident, but it was Spencer Gallagher and it was Cole Custer was involved in that. And those two guys, their teams did a great job of unloading those backups, getting those backups to inspection, and at least getting them back on the racetrack in the second practice for a lap or so.
Spencer taking the green now in that backup car, trying to put it in the field for GMS Racing. Parker.
Well, I found a driver who's hoping he doesn't get into the top 12. It's Michael Annette, who's currently 11th right now. Good speed in this car. I believe it's the same car you had at Daytona and Talladega earlier this year. You've been very confident. But you mentioned the heat. Are you planning for the night?
Yeah. We always know it's gonna be hot and humid here. But I'm really hoping I'm not sitting here sweating my butt off here and we get knocked out and be 13th and sit out here for an hour for no reason. So hopefully we can make it to that next round and stay in the top 12. It's going to be close. There's about two more cars we're looking at that have a good shot at beating us. But no, this is just the driver can't really take too much credit for how you qualify here at Daytona. It's just a testament to the guys at the shop, the guys sitting here next to me, and Hendrick Engine. So we got a really fast car, that was running second at the white flag here in February with half the nose missing. So if we can keep all the fenders on it tonight, hopefully we got a good shot at it.
Looks like you held them off. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I get stay out here for another half hour and sweat.
A lot of sweat equity being put down here by Michael Annette, guys.
Parker, we're keeping you down there for a very good reason as well. More people to talk to as we get through round number 1, moving on to the final round. Here's that other backup car that was rolled out. You saw Cole Custer kind of staring at it, had to be in his mind, just shaking his head, thinking, hey, practice hadn't even hardly started, and I'm already sitting here just watching it.
Yeah, I think they got this car out for one lap in that final session, maybe it was all, and
he didn't like it. Well, I shouldn't say that. We thought maybe he didn't like it because he brought it right back in, but why mess with it, right?
Yeah. And listen, they obviously, when they unloaded this backup car, they had a lot of work to do. They talked about him working on the seat. They had to work on the car. They took their time. They got it back out there. Then you really just want to run a lap sometimes just to make sure nothing's leaking.
Yeah.
And that everything's sealed up good and everything's tight. And that appears to be what they were. But that's a pretty solid lap. For only having one lap on that car, that's a really good lap for that team.
And is this a place where, because of the aerodynamics involved, when you bring, quote-unquote, your best car, it really is kind of hands far above the second-best car?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, for most of these teams, you know, they you put so much time and effort into building one of those. You don't have time, especially in this series, unless you, and I don't know if there's anybody down there that has an unlimited budget for this series. So you can't afford to take that time and spend that money to do that with a backup car. You just have to make it the best you can off of what you learned with that first one and go from there.
Fastest time yesterday was put down by a Burton, Jeb Burton. Nephew of Jeff, son of Ward.
Good lap going here. Pretty fast race car he's got.
Another one showed it yesterday in the pack, showing it now individually.
He's one of the few that's been in the green going into turn one that we've seen over the last little bit. Losing a little time here. It looked like it bottomed out a little bit. And he said yesterday that the trailer arms drug a little bit in that first practice. And they were going to have to work on that. He really didn't run anymore after that first practice.
17th. So did lose a little bit.
Yes.
So Burton will start this race for sure. Doesn't look like he's going to be maybe as quick as he thought he would, but a good run for the JGL Racing bunch in the 24 car. There's the heat, there are the palm trees. It's gorgeous, but it is sultry out there this afternoon. There's Michael Annette's car. Talked to him a minute ago, and he indeed will make it to round two.